Welcome, welcome. So this is my hubby and I. We've been married 17 years and we love to have fun and we are very happily married. I just wanted to share with you one tip my hubby and I do to keep our marriage strong. Okay, so like I said, my husband and I have been married 17 years, and the one thing that we do to keep our marriage strong, and this can be relatable to any relationship. It doesn't have to be a marriage. It could be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever kind of relationship that you are in, make sure to schedule date night. And I know that kind of sounds cliche and it kind of sounds duh, right? Date night for a relationship. I just wanted to share that 2 years ago, I decided as a New Year's resolution that I wanted to do a monthly date night with my husband. So what I did is I made this New Year's resolution and I decided that I was going to write it down in my planner. So this was for 2014. Every month. We were going to do it once a month. So I looked at my planner and I wrote out 12 date nights, one per month. And let me tell you why you need to do that. If you do not do that, it gets forgotten. I mean, we are so busy, especially if you have children or you're both working full-time. Whatever you have going on, life is busy, and if you don't put each other first and actually schedule that time together, it's not going to happen. At least in our relationship, we were not spending quality time together. We have a special needs child, we have a teenager, and life was happening, and I felt like we weren't necessarily growing distant, but we weren't having that special connection. This year, we're doing weekly date nights. And so I do the same thing. I look at my month and I choose what day we're going to do our date nights. So you're going to decide first how often are you going to do a date night. Are you going to do it bi-weekly, every week, once a month? And write it in your calendar. Those are my top 2 tips. Decide how often, write it in your calendar. Number 3, you want to decide who is going to plan the date and communicate with the babysitter if you have kids. Okay, and I would just have to say, it's all up to me. And it's just, if I leave it up to my hubby, he's not going to do it. And I have learned this the hard way. How many of us women want our husbands to read our minds? There has been times that you've really wanted your husband to do something and you don't really make it happen, or you don't talk to him about it, and it kind of stews on the inside. I want a date night. I want him to plan the date night. I want him to get the sitter. But you know what, you guys? That's not my husband. Honestly, it's not that my husband does not want to go on a date with me. He does. But he would rather stay at home. He loves to be at home. He is not going to choose to get the babysitter and do the date night. So I decided a couple years ago that I was just going to accept the fact that if we do date night, it's on me. I'm going to plan it. I'm going to get this babysitter. I'm going to communicate with people and figure this out. So that's my tip number 3. Decide who is going to watch the kids, who's going to be the communicator, who is going to plan it. So decide how often you're going on your date. Write it down in your calendar so you don't forget. Decide who's going to plan the date and communicate it. Number 4, I learned this the hard way too. This is why I want to share it. Keep it simple and do what you love. I have learned over the last couple of years that comparison is the thief of joy, and it is so true. I have friends that do these awesome dates, right? They rent fancy cars, or they dress up really fancy and go to cool shows, or they take a really exotic hike up this beautiful view of a mountain, and they do these really extravagant things, and they're super creative, and they plan it out and they have all these beautiful pictures. And you know what our dates are? Our dates are dinner and a movie, like 10 minutes down the street. And I personally love that. I'm a creature of habit. I like the same restaurants. Yeah, right? We compare ourselves. We compare our relationships. We compare our dates. We compare everything we're doing, and it is going to steal your joy. So try not to do that, because that was me. I'm like, oh, we just go to the same restaurants. We go to the same movies. Anywhere with salad and chicken, you know it. Woo woo. So finally I said to my husband, I was like, you know what? This isn't even fun. We're spending all this money. We're racking our brains to try to come up with something creative and fun, and we don't even want to do it. And it's all because I want to be able to tell my friend who's creative and fun and exotic that that's what I did. And I learned the hard way. We're not doing that anymore. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money, take a walk around the block with your partner. Just spend that time with them. Take a walk around the block. Go to the park with a cup of coffee. Just have time for the two of you where you're alone and spend time together. Okay, here's my last tip for date night. And if you have children, it's a challenge, and I challenge you to not talk about your kids on your date. Wade and I do that, and I told him a while back, no kid talk on the date. We have to talk about other things. And it is hard. It's so hard. But here's the reality of it. We raise our kids so they'll be independent. And they're going to go to college, and they're going to move away, and we're going to be empty nesters. I mean, I know it's hard to believe that we're ever going to get that old to be empty nesters, but it's going to happen. And when that happens, when our whole life has been centered around our kids and we've talked only about our kids, and then they're gone, what are we going to, we're going to lose our identity in that. We're going to have to get to know each other again. Yes. Yeah, we were guilty of that for a long time. And so then we go on our date the next time, and I'm like, we can't talk about the kids. And seriously, we sat there. Like, we had to come up with stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, if we have a 12 and a 13-year-old, 14-year-old now, just imagine if, they're 20 and we've been doing that for 20 years, and now all of a sudden they're gone and they have kids of their own. No, I don't want that. I want our relationship to be strong as we grow old together. So that's a tip of mine. Do not talk about the kids on your date. I know it's hard, but don't do it. So my overall message is, since I've been trying to be the best version of myself, I have learned that small changes in our lives compound to the biggest results. I am a perfectionist at heart, and I have always believed that when I'm going to change my life, it has to be big, huge changes, and they have to be perfect all the time. And it's not true. It's not true. Small changes compound to big results. So let's look at this in our relationships. Do you really think that one date night is going to change your relationship or save your marriage? It's not. But if you do a weekly date night or you do a monthly date night with your partner, that is going to compound to a really healthy relationship. And tonight is a good reference, because my babysitter couldn't be here till 6:45, and that's a little later than we normally like to go out. And so I was really tempted to say, oh, let's just forget it. She can't be here till 6:45. That means we're not going to get to the restaurant till like 7:15. And then we're not going to eat till like 7:45. Like, is it even worth it? And I remembered my motto: small changes lead to compound effects of what I want in my life. And yes, even if we're out for 2 hours, it makes a difference. It's going to make a difference in the long term. So we're going to have a little bit later date night. We're going to be out for a couple hours. We're not going to enjoy a movie. We're just going to have dinner together, and it's going to make a difference in our relationship. It's going to make us stronger. And we're not going to talk about the kids. We're not going to do it. I promise. We're not going to do it. So that's my tip. Keep your relationship strong by scheduling time to be together, even if it's a small amount of time and it's not very extravagant, but it's something you love to do and you can connect with each other. Is that helpful? Is that a good reminder? I hope so. See you guys later. Love you. Bye.